All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Saiki K, Season 1, Episode 8.
All right.
New developments.
Yes,
Saiki
indeed.
has wiped the memories from his friends of a certain event, which
Yes.
must never, ever, ever be remembered. But that was replaced with other memories.
Yes, that have attached them even more to Saiki.
Indeed.
Yes.
I'm sure those won't cause extra chaos and frustrations and
Never.
complications and exhaustion in our main character.
No. of course
Definitely not.
It'll make them just bring him copious amounts of pudding.
I mean, hey, if that is like, I think he'd be okay with that. You know, even if it was like, say, Terahashi like trying to get close to him or something like that, but she was bringing him pudding. You know, I think
he
he'd be
could
like,
won
okay,
over.
sure, yeah.
How much of a good thing though is too much though?
You think my feelings can just be bought with pudding?
You're
Yes, you're
right.
absolutely right. Yeah.
And our feelings can also be bought with the insanity that this show provides. Because
Indeed.
it does not stop.
No, never.
Never. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Judgment lights up.
This show,
Oh my
y'all.
God,
This show. Freaking like skit by skit.
Yep.
It just does not let up. And then every once in a while you get one that just busts your gut. You just can't contain it.
And which one was that this episode?
There was Dad Nendo.
Yeah,
That one just had me wheezing. It was so good.
It was a thing of beauty.
Oh.
Like, because
The scamming like salesman one was
Yep.
also just flawless.
yes, now I don't have telepathy. That one was actually like serious in some ways.
Yeah.
But then also really funny.
Really funny.
Like
yeah.
the fact that we're only 8 episodes into this show, and yet I feel like we've been watching it for a long time in the best way. We have so much more of this show to go through. Okay. Like, because with comedies, it's one of those things where I feel like once I get into it and like understand the characters and the style of comedy and everything like that.
Yeah, there's nothing more that
then
surprises you. It just kind of
it
just does its thing, you know?
Well, but then also
Another
it's
dose,
usually
basically.
almost over.
I
right.
see what you're saying.
And then, you know, because most of the time, comedies that I've seen in anime will be like the one core, right? And then it's like, okay, you have it, it's great, and then
Daily
it's over.
Lives of High School Boys.
Daily Lives of High School
Yeah.
Boys, you know, Nozaki-kun, you know, things like that, right?
Joe kind of fulfills that, like, slightly
Sure.
longer
Yeah.
a bit there.
But,
yeah.
you know, so having something like this where we get 2 full seasons, let's do this.
Plus extras, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's just, the more invested I get in this, the happier I am, not just because I'm enjoying it more episode by episode, but it's also, holy shit, there's still so much more. Like, this is going to be a staple of our lives for a full year.
I love how you say this, because these are all the arguments that the Gintama people make as to why you should do that. And I'm
God
like,
damn it,
I'm like,
Caleb.
Jacob, I'm not, like...
You're just giving them
You
ammunition.
just give you them ammunition, man. Like, that's literally all the reasons why they're like, we should watch Gintama. And it's like, this show has what I would call the most rapid fire delivery.
Yes.
Is that while there's a lot of it, it's the idea that it's so jam-packed that I barely get a chance to breathe before
Right.
they're moving on to the next joke.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
that's one of the other things that I like. Anime, I feel like definitely does this better than like most other mediums for comedy, you know, of like having high jokes per minute basically. But even for this show compared to other anime, it's got a lot. Like, so even if one joke in particular doesn't land, which most do, it's already on to the next one or escalating it in some fresh way. Like,
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, and I love it. I think that what's really fun is that it's super repetitive in terms of each character having their very specific shtick.
Sure.
But the fact that the scenarios keep changing up means that I'm never really bored. It's like
Right.
ever. So it's just a good time. And then also when we have kind of newer characters kind of coming into things like Matsuzaki. Matsuzaki. Yeah, Matsuzaki, the PE teacher.
Yeah.
I'm all having those adjective nicknames.
God,
for
that's
him and
right.
Stuff. It's like, oh, that was ridiculous. But then the idea that, no, he's actually a pretty decent guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he's a bit of a stickler for the rules, and he's really wanting to make sure that they all have a good school environment that they can grow up in and learn good lessons. But you know, yeah, he's a bit of a stickler.
Right.
But no, he's not going to be like a pervy teacher or anything like that. No,
Nope.
he cares about the students.
He's a good dude.
individually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This you talking about the PE teacher skit. I had completely forgotten that skit was in this episode, not because I didn't like it, but because there was so much in the episode.
Yeah, and that was the very first one.
Yeah, it was the very
goes
first
through
one,
very
right?
quickly,
It feels like some of the experiences that we would have with like Grand Blue or something like that, where we're like reading the manga volumes, and there could be some absolutely fantastic joke in there, right?
Yes.
And yet because there's so much content, right, you forget what was in that volume, right?
Right.
And that's such a good feeling to have
It
because
is.
most of the time, my
Definitely.
experience with comedy in stories in general. Is where it's remember that joke that's just so
Yes.
good, right?
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
and maybe there's like a few, you know, like there'll get to be more of them over the course of the show.
I get what you're saying.
But
Yeah.
when I'm watching an episode, it's kind of the panning for gold, right? Of like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun, that's fun. Oh, but this is the real good one. Whereas for this, it's just nonstop madness and laughter and wonderfulness, and yet it also has things that are kind of serious and sweet, like the idea that the teacher was like, no, I did my best to fix your little model, didn't fix it well at all,
No.
but you know, the heart's
Tried.
there. Yeah, he tried, you know.
Yeah.
He stayed, you know, he knew he was probably getting pranked, but then he's like, wait a minute, what if there actually is a student that, you know, confessed their feelings in some heartfelt letter? Even though it's a low odds chance, I can't risk it, right? I need
because I need to let them know, like, hey, this is never going to happen.
Right.
But I respect the fact that you did this, so I'm going to let you down
Yep.
nicely, but let you know also that, like, hey, you're going to be okay. It's going to
Yeah,
be fine.
exactly.
So, as a really
just
cool interaction.
Awesome.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff. Also, just the insanity upon which they'll build, like, from, like, skit joke to skit joke, like the shifting of Nendo's ghost daddy to then going to Reita Toritsuka, who's then having a tournament arc in his room or temple or what have you alone.
Yep.
While
With his
he's got-
pinups.
Yeah.
That is, I gotta say, that is awesome. It's both hilarious as a joke and I can see myself doing that.
Yeah. It's the idea of like, I understand the energy that birthed this idea in this boy's
Yep.
head.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and it's not even the original tournament.
No.
No, this is the losers semifinal.
This is the losers semifinal brackets for like the catch up, and depending on how his brackets work, it could be something where the winner of the losers bracket gets a chance to return back into the winners bracket. Who knows? Who
right?
knows?
Because
Yeah,
you got to figure out who's in third and fourth, right?
Right.
You know,
Yes,
otherwise
exactly.
it's just first and second, and that's not enough information.
Enough, yeah. I really like though how they'll keep all this stuff contextually, like the continuity, like really good because Nendo's dad ghost basically is Reita's guardian spirit.
Right.
So the idea that he's not there with his son, because then you would have two Nendos in the same
That's just
scene.
that's too much power. Yeah.
Too powerful. Yeah. So having him be like, oh no, I'm gonna send you to heaven and see like what happens. He's like, no, that's not how this works. He would still be here chilling. You just have me with
Right.
with him as well.
And
He's
then
like,
he just
okay,
astral
fine, no.
projects
Yeah.
to do a JoJo's fight. There you
Yeah.
go. You know,
Wonderful.
And also just the joke of someone that is so cosmically powerful, and yet they can't deal with an annoying person who's just bugging them. I love that so much.
Yes, me too.
One of my
Oh
favorite.
God.
I'm gonna go into D&D a little bit here, but one of my favorite things for like just fuckery that can happen in like emergent behavior and stories and things like that is if you ever get someone that has telepathy or anything like that,
sending.
or yeah, you're right, the sending spell for D&D specifically, right? Who cares about combat mechanical implications? No. You just never let them sleep, right? You just hound them
Oi,
incessantly.
oi,
yeah,
oi,
exactly.
oi.
Right? Like, as far as like something where, and in Saiki's case here, even though he has all this power, he can't actually affect the ghost normally.
Yeah,
right?
Isn't there a way that if you're a warlock, you could use your familiar to then link your telepathy from there to whoever the person is that you're wanting to speak to? Which
I don't know
then-
about linking the telepathy, but you could definitely send it after them and have it talk to them. Like, it's
Right, so that way they wouldn't ever know that it was you, but then you would
Right.
have also theoretically a ridiculous amount of range without needing to be within 60 feet or what have you for telepathy.
Short D&D story, not my character, and I will keep this brief because, but there was a person in our party who had a racial telepathy ability, but it didn't specify that you had to have line of sight with the person you were speaking to.
Yes.
So we were hiding in the bad guy's camp. They hid semi far away from the leader's tent and just spoke into their mind the entire time when they were trying to sleep.
Yeah.
And they just did that.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was like psychological warfare on a whole other level.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Saiki has to put up with this is something where I act like, because a lot of the stuff that Saiki gets annoyed by, it's because Saiki is a very particular person, right? And so he gets bugged very easily.
Yeah.
But this, oh no, that's the kind of stuff that would just drive someone insane.
Yes.
Like, how would you deal with that?
Yeah,
You wouldn't.
I did this in Pathfinder as well, where I had a character that could interact with shadows, and I used basically the character's shadow to be a thing that I could then speak through to do a remote 400-foot long telepathic harassment of sorts, where I was basically just bugging them by being like, yes, and spooking them.
Exactly.
For that fun purpose there.
Right. And so the fact that we got that as just one of the skits for the episode just touched my heart.
Yes.
And then on top of that, we have all of the other stuff that, ended up happening, right? Like, I feel like this show, weirdly enough, could end up being one of those ones that gets a lot of discussion on an episode-by-episode basis just to make sure that we cover the skits.
Yeah.
Like, because they're all so good.
They're all really good, yeah.
But,
yeah. And because they're so varied, sometimes you get the episode that's super dense with the ones that are, like, ridiculously funny. And those just, oh my God.
Oh,
like,
yeah. And
I can't imagine, like, watching this in a binging format. I would literally be crying and just like exhausted after like 4 episodes,
And this is another thing where it makes me really glad that we do this in the week by week format, because if I watched the 8 episodes that we've watched so far, but in like an afternoon, right, where I just watch a bunch of it.
Sure. Even if half of that, say 4 episodes.
Yeah, but I'm already having trouble remembering all the skits. Like, I totally forgot about the Valentines skit. That was wonderful, right? If I binged these 8 episodes, I would remember maybe 25% of the skits. Maybe. And that would just be a damn shame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hyro's little bit of then getting overstacked with chocolate, but none of it was, serious romantic chocolate. But then...
There is a serious romantic chocolate.
One heartful bit of romantic chocolate.
No. Yeah. This boy is too brick-headed in order to notice. And I saved a girl that was being simultaneously attacked by a brown bear and something else.
Mountain lion or something.
Yeah, right.
And then fucking Nendo, like, making Kaido think that
that was
Teruhashi
evil.
had given him chocolate. He's like, hey, you thought Teruhashi would actually give you chocolate? I got you.
And then, surprise, no, she's not here for you, Nendo. And now you get to sit here alone. Yeah, that was... Yeah. I mean, just desserts.
I mean, yeah, but he had to give his little...
Oh, yeah, the faces this episode were on point. Yeah.
But there you go. That's another episode of Saiki K.
We've
got another jam-packed bit of skits. The development of a magic item that he can use
to seal away his magic powers. Don't tell your resident Chuni
that.
He might be a little jealous.
Yeah, he's like, and it actually works for you? He's like, yes, I can no longer use my telepathy. And he's like,
right.
You actually act like a kind of person that would have telepathy.
Yeah, exactly.
I get
right.
this. Yes. Yes. I will, don't worry, I will respect your desire to keep your power maintained. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, these gloves do the same thing for me. And he's like, no, stop, please. Yeah.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all of this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.